Howdy guys, Jeep and Jason here. We are in Moab, Utah for Easter Jeep Safari. I've wheeled a couple of trails. I didn't shoot it because I'm just shaking down the Jeep, enjoying the week. But I thought a fun first video of this week would be to put the Jeep on the MetalCloak CTI trailer. Now that's the corner travel index trailer, and we're gonna flex this thing to its max and actually get a number to it. And now we have a special treat. We have Dirt Lifestyle Nate in his Gladiator up on the ramp right now. We got my buddy David Oliver, Willamette Motor and Fab, in his Suburban. And our two final competitors for our friendly competition on the CTI trailer will be Riley in this crazy cool K30 and Big Mike from Marlin Crawlers in his really tricked out Tacoma. So let's get these rigs up on the trailer and see who's gonna get bragging rights tonight back at the condo. And who do you guys think is gonna win this? Highest number wins.
What the corner travel index trailer is all about is we literally take the inches of travel in each corner and we basically multiply it by 20.
Oh yeah,
we wanted to come up with a scoring system that was similar to an RTI ramp because people were used to getting like 1,000, and that was awesome.
Yeah.
1,000 here is still awesome, but it's literally a good tool to kind of check and see what's working, what's not working, what's hitting. A lot of guys get really tied up into the number. The number is not necessarily how good the truck would wheel, but we like flex. More flex is usually better. So the higher the number, we all get competitive, right?
Right. This is Mr. Dirt Lifestyle.
Howdy.
And so they're diesel Gladiator. What do you have? What's the specs on this thing?
It's a 2021 diesel Gladiator. It's got like 10,000 miles on it. I just did a 3.5-inch Clayton lift. Super, like, just common everyman stuff. Right. And then we put some nice Bilstein shocks on it and 39s.
Okay, so we'll see what she does. What do we got Nate's number at?
So we're at 760,
okay.
Which is, and there's nothing wrong with that. So literally we were at 18 inches in the rear, 20 inches in the front.
Okay.
We add those things together, 38 total times 20, 760.
All right, my turn to roll up on the trailer and we'll see what we get.
We typically lift the passenger front and the driver rear side. That's what gives us a better number, twists everything up nice, and then we can go around and check clearances and that kind of thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of stoked because this will be my first time. I've done all my stuff in the garage, so this will be a good place to get articulation and look, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
okay.
Yeah, it's such a fabulous tool. I mean, guys that use forklifts to check their suspensions when things are getting built,
yeah,
that's nice, but if you had 2 forklifts, that would be perfect.
Wow.
So these ramps actually used to live inside MetalCloak, and the engineers, you know, sitting around going, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we could take those on the road? So they ended up building a trailer around those ramps. Yeah. So here we go.
What do you look for there? Yeah.
So we stop once a tire comes completely off the ground. Sometimes it's the back, sometimes it's the front. All Jeeps, all rigs have an end-up pivot point where either the fender, the tire's into the fender and it starts to lift that side up, or there's, you know, the shock could be the limiting factor, things like that. But once a tire comes up off the ground, we stop, I'll drop it just a hair so that that tire gets touched back to the ground, and now we'll go take a look and get some measurements. So a lot of times, this shock, whether it's a 6-pack shock or somebody else's shock, it's very common for when the axle swings down, the shock body gets pinned up against the frame. Well, as you can see here, we have some clearances. Because this moves the top out, the bottom moves over a little bit, we don't have this binding. Most times, a regular JK gets up here and the shock is bending as that axle articulates down. So I know I don't have to check that out because you've already got the right brackets. So in the rear, one of the first things I start to look at is how much room do we have? Do we have some room for tire travel? Now when we have a bunch like this, but you can see we're a lot closer up front. Just the nature of the way that the geometry works, when that axle comes up, it moves closer to the front. we have some room back here. So with adjustable control arms, we could actually move the back axle a little bit back just to kind of center it in that wheel well a little bit, get you some more clearance out of it.
Okay.
But the next thing I look at are bump stops. So running 3 1-inch pucks, that's perfect. With one of our Duro springs, it softens the blow. You still got shock, a little bit. You still got spring, that's good. So you actually have a little bit of room with moving the axle back maybe just an inch. You could actually take out one of those pucks and get some more up travel out of it.
See, that's the stuff that is super valuable to me because I dork out on all of that stuff, all of those measurements, and I did go conservative with the axle placement in there. And this is kind of neat to know that there's more to go.
Yeah,
room
absolutely.
to grow. Yeah,
and
room
you're
to
already
grow.
so a common 3.5-inch lift, typically in a single rear wheel up in the air. When it tucks into the fender, we get about 18, 19 inches is pretty common. We're at 21 inches right now.
Wow.
And you still have another inch to gain. So that's good stuff.
All right, what's the assessment up here?
So same kind of idea here. I'm looking for how much clearance do we have before the tire's into the fender well, and we still have a little bit of room there. We are about 23.5 inches. That's really good as well. But if I take a look up front, I can see where the drag link, we can actually, it's hitting the frame right now, which is common on the JK. With a little bit of rotation, because there's a slight bend, we can actually get it down away from the frame, and that's something that you may hear on the trail, hitting bumps and things. It's kind of a bang. It's like, what's that sound? Well, this trailer allows us to be able to go, hey, I know what that sound is. So we take our measurement, we had 21 in the back, we had 24 up front, is exactly 900.
Nice.
Awesome score.
Okay.
Absolutely. I haven't flexed this since we were on Steel Bender last
I'm
time.
getting rid of the Gladiator, I'm getting a Bourbon.
Yeah.
What about seeing that, doing that is
You know what's fun? As you know, when you build everything personally yourself, like you already know that you're at the limit on the rear shackle, that you're perfect where you are on the bump. Like you know where all that stuff is. But I only know that from like the driveway and the shop, and I'm never outside of the truck. And I get to see that, and it's great. More than that, I get to share that with my dad, and he gets to see the fruit of all of this work. So I'm tickled.
So our measurements, we looked at the rear, 25 inches, the front, 25.5 inches. 25 and 25 is a really easy number for me to work on because I just multiply that by 20 and that gets us to 1,000. With that half inch, that's an additional 10 points. So we ended up at 10-10.
Rock and roll.
just so you guys know, that's David's dad, who is the original owner of this Suburban. So it's the most sentimental for sure, and it wins so far of us, out of our group for sure.
My name is Riley. The truck is just about as simple as it gets. It's got a 454 motor, an SM465 4-speed transmission, and a 205 transfer case. Literally a stock drivetrain. I put a Sniper fuel injection on it just because I like it to run going downhill. Other than that, it's got off-road designed custom leaf springs in the front with some shocks. They're not important.
They're shocks.
They're shocks, exactly. And in the rear, I've got the ORD 4-link suspension with coil springs and shocks. And the whole system just works really, really well.
A lot of custom work goes into something like this. People don't realize, like, it may look like a bunch of junk, but people spent a lot of time to create this. So, yeah.
What's the number?
The reveal. So we're 18 inches in the rear, 22 in the front. Add those together, 40 multiplied by 20, 800. Not too shabby at all. Those leaf springs are working actually really well.
I'm Big Mike from MarlerCar.com. This is my 2016 Toyota Tacoma with just a couple of modifications to it.
How's it looking?
I think I mounted these too high because that looks pretty much bottomed out.
Ooh,
so
yeah.
I definitely want to lower those because there's room above the tire to the fender.
Yeah. That's what this is helpful for.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You're 20, 21, 41, 820.
820.
That's pretty awesome.
How's that for IFS? 820.
So that's why when you first got on here, I said don't be disappointed because IFS, the Trader doesn't play with IFS the same as the straight axle.
Yeah.
So typically IFS doesn't score as high, but this number here puts you right in straight axle land.
Mattson,
Hey.
from MetalCloak.
Hey.
Tell us a little bit about the trailer. What's going on?
So, you know, way back when, I don't know, it's been so long ago, we decided RTI was not the way to go to try to test suspension. So we built this thing, the Corner Travel Index trailer, really to be able to test suspension. Because, you know, when you're out there going, you're flexing your rig like this, right? That's how your axles are going. It's not trying to go up one big rock all the time. So we built this thing out. It's just a way of showing things off. It's actually fun to have people come out and test their rigs, look at suspension. Now, secretly, we actually go and use all that data to make our own systems better. So since we've been doing this in 2014, we've collected 9,500 Jeeps data that we use to understand suspension better. And we're the only company in the world who's done this. So there's a business side to it, but there's also the fun side to it.
Kind of one of those fun things. We all were just back from the trail at the house.
yeah.
We were like thinking, let's go have some fun and just do some like, you know, throwing. So thank you guys so much for watching. Look for more stuff, adventures between all of us. Hint, hint in the future. And until next time, enjoy your drive.
Bye.
See y'all.